particularly cheap. Now then, why did that just reconnect? So everybody is now getting adverts. Now I have somehow managed now to mess up where these yellow rings are. Excuse me, there we go, that's that one. So I've got to get this blue ring through the right place now. Hey default guy, good evening, good afternoon even. I'm having fun with closed rings. Trying to get them. Trying to make a byzantine bracelet with closed rings. Which in theory is possible. In practice requires patience. So how are you doing this Sunday afternoon? I am wondering whether I actually want to do this with a slightly tighter ring. What am I going with there? They are 3/16. 5 and 18 gauge 3/16. Maybe I will try it with this. Oh yeah, no, it is theoretically possible. And it's theoretically there's a relatively easy way of doing it. It's just theory and practice are sometimes not quite the same thing. just doing it there was quite fiddly. And they're quite large rings as well. Yeah, so I was trying to forgetting what I was doing then. Well, colouring is using coloured pens, I guess, like a felt tip pen. I'm going to say the easiest way is just to open a few bottles of paint and just dip them in. That would be the most simple way of colouring those tips in. Now I'm going to have fun with this, and fun is a euphemism from it's not going to be very much fun at all. Now I have to get this the right way around as well. I want that to go over the top in there. Okay, like everything, once I've got 2 or 3 of these together, it'll probably get a lot easier, but until I actually get sort of make it a reasonable length of chain up, then it'll be a little bit awkward doing this. There, 5:30 seconds, 18. Put another couple on that. I'm experimenting here. I was intending to make a upper bracelet, and we may still do so, but I'm just having a little bit of fun at the moment with these yellow rings, just to see what I can do with them. Okay. It works as well as anyway, yeah. It just, as you say, a little bit more time consuming. just adjust the camera a little bit. Make it a bit easier for you to see what I'm doing. I just get lazy when I'm doing things like painting AD, so if I can find a quick way of doing something, like, I don't know, thinning the paint for example, I don't want that to go all the way through there. I want to go through there, and I want to put 2 yellow rings on, and I want to get that blue from down there from there. Through that, and also through that ring there. Excuse me if you can't see what I'm doing. I can't see what I'm doing. I'm thinking that I probably would have been better opening this ring perhaps the other way. Okay, let's try that again. Through there, and through there. So I pick up those yellow rings there. I then want to also pick up this blue ring on this side here, like I've just done there. That is a bit fiddly. Just turn that a little bit so I can get hold of it better. Okay. So have I got 16, they were 5mm, so have I got some 16 gauge? Sixteen gauge 5mm. Are they 19? 19. You never have the thing that you want. What's those? They're too small. 19. 20. 19. I don't have quite the size that I want. I kind of want something that size but that thick, which is going to be a 16 gauge. It is. I don't really want to do... Sorry, I'm talking to myself here. Trying to work out what I actually want to try. Maybe I'll try something slightly different. Steve, good afternoon. Welcome to the studio this afternoon. I thought you were streaming a moment ago. It's a quarter of an hour ago. World of Tanks, I believe. How are you? How are you enjoying that? I'm just trying something different out this afternoon. I'm using these fixed rings. So these yellow rings, which are closed, they're a single. They've got no join in them, basically. I'm just trying to see if I can incorporate them into a chain. I'm looking to do a particular weave of chain, which is called a byzantine weave, which these are two examples of, but they're not quite right. This one's a bit loose, and this one looks a little bit too small for the yellow rings. And so I'm just trying to see if I can get something which is in between. Ah. And because these are sort of a fixed ring, they have to... This weave is normally a heck of a lot easier to do when you're not using fixed rings. When you're not using closed rings. So this is providing an interesting challenge. That is going to not work. They'll open up too much. Okay. Right. Okay, they're too loose. It's going to have to be like this, but what I'm going to have to do is not put as many yellow rings in. It was, but you stopped for afternoon tea. World of Warships. Well, it was one of those World of things. Thank you very much. It was going pretty good. Okay, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't really get much chance to. To watch. I was busy cutting things, trees and things this morning, and then came straight into streaming. Yep, that's right, Eddie. Well, not strictly. Well, yes to the intent of the question, but no to the exact specification. They're not rubber, are they? They're a neoprene mix, which is a synthetic compound of some kind. And so what I'm going to try and do here is make a block of byzantine and then space out the yellow a little bit more. So start with a couple of yellow, and add a couple of blue. Have I got all four? Yep, I have. Yeah, this is relatively easy to do when you just relatively easy to do. The relative just went out the window. When you're just using solid rings. Now then, if I'd closed a couple of more blue ones, I could have. No, I can't. I was about to say I could have just added them here, but I can't because I want to put a yellow one on next. Yeah. So I'm taking a couple of byzantine blocks, and by blocks that's kind of a the four rings that form that sort of folded back look, and then I'm going to take a couple of them, which I've just done here, join them together, and then join them to the next set of 2 blocks with a set of yellow rings. We'll see whether that works. So I'm going to see if I can manage somehow to hold those between there, because if I can, it should be easier than trying to you don't have a lot of space. In fact, I've got next to no space. Let's see if I can do it. No, they're going to go all over the place if I try and do that. So, blue ring, 1, 2 yellow rings, and now I try and find what happened to the blue ring that I was there it is. So try that again. Now the blue rings, these yellow rings do have to go in a particular place, otherwise this doesn't work. They don't join together properly. Wow, is this fiddly? There we go. You got to sort of put the rings in the place that they will be once the pattern is established, which is right in the middle of the set of rings. That's it there. Okay, now I've got to do is put another one through exactly, well, not exactly, through the other side of where I've just put that one. So through the blue, I'll find that later. I'm actually getting a little bit frustrated by this at the moment. So through the blue, through the 2 yellow, and through the blue on the other side. Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to try with one of these rings. Normally I sort of open them in an anti-clockwise direction. I'm going to try opening this one in a clockwise direction, which is backwards to how I normally do it. And I'm now going to see if that makes it easier to put it through. I'm working with the wrong ring there. I just picked the wrong ring size up, so I twist it the other way to normal. Which side am I working at? This one. So through the blue ring, through 2 yellow rings, that's one. That's done. That's one. That's two. And now I've got to twist it back down through that one. Okay, that is slightly easier. Not fantastically easier, but it is slightly easier. Okay, so right, okay, I have a mistake on there. So I need to correct that mistake. That mistake is that ring, this one ring here. It's the wrong size. I somehow managed to pick up one of those slightly larger rings in doing this. So can I do this without let me take that off. That makes me wonder. Okay, so that actually looks better now that I've put the right size ring on it. They hold themselves together. It's not collapsing. That's what's happening with this. The rings are slightly, well, the rings are okay. If I was using solid rings, these are flexible rings, and it's therefore I think causing these to collapse a little bit. So they might look okay, but I might extend this one a little bit at some point just to try. That one looks okay. They're not collapsing on each other. So collapsing means they just they don't quite hold the shape properly. So you can sort of see that one's flopping about a little bit in terms of where the rings are. This one sits nice. So what I'm going to do is try and extend this. Now, I wasn't planning on doing it with these particular rings, so I'm not altogether sure I've got enough, but we shall find out. That's the wrong one, put that over there. So open these up. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want 10 for the next 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I want 10 for the next block. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now then, this one, it felt as though it was a bit easier doing it last time with just one ring which was twisted the wrong way, or not the wrong way, twisted the opposite way, shall we say. It's not a case of right or wrong, it's just a case of opposite. Okay, I could do some of this with, I could have closed some of these up, which would potentially have been a bit easier, but would have speeded up doing the weaving slightly, but I forgot, so we get to actually close them on the chain itself. Yep. I was then just at that point in time forgetting how to make this this particular weave. Just went completely out of my head. I'd probably do a little bit better as well if I actually put my other glasses on, which would allow me to see things a little bit better. Now you know why I wondered if you could just dip them, Adi. Yeah, maybe thin the paint a little bit and just dip them in. Could you maybe sort of just lay them all out on the on a desk flat, then sort of just hold them down and just go over all the ends and just roll them slightly and just keep going over the ends, you know, with the marker, rather than, I'm assuming you're doing them one at a time, but okay, so that's, yeah, so this is the start of the and here's where we start having to add the yellow rings in again. It's easy without the yellow rings. Well, easy is a relative term, but it's there's less challenge Actually, I've not got a ring quite closed properly there. There we go. Getting those rings to close nicely, or be closed nicely and stay closed nicely, is part of the challenge of doing this. It's a relatively easy thing if you just try and you know what, let me try something even easier. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it's doing something like this is sort of relatively easy if you don't care so much about joining the rings or closing the rings cleanly, so that the seam basically just vanishes. And that's if you can get the seam to vanish, you've got a really nice join. Now then, I did have on my desk one of those things that Adie's busy painting, which is a cocktail stick, and since I can't find it, I shall get another one out. Go through a lot of these when I'm airbrushing, because I use them as paint mixing sticks. Now then, what I'm going to try and do is just see if having put that through there, I am going to, these two rings actually want to sit in the middle between the two blue rings under here. So I thought I would just see if I can cheat, put them on, and then sort of grab them or sort of push them through. That actually doesn't look like it's a particularly successful way of doing it. I seem to be spending more time trying to get them in the right place than I was before. So this experiment may not have worked too well. No, this is actually even more fiddly. Oh, interesting. Okay, well maybe we'll try that one again. So now I've got this one ring which is twisted the opposite way. Maybe I wouldn't try this with red rings. For some reason the coating on the red rings is a little bit less robust. Probably got there we go. That's not bad. So that's two. I'll get faster as I get practice, but that doesn't look so bad. It actually looks a lot better than that one does. Well, that's my opinion. One at a time with kids' crayons. Well, it's a chill out job, Adie. So I'm going to carry on with this because I think this actually looks better. It looks better as a chain as well. So another 10 rings. I knew I should have used a bigger container when I put them in here, but never mind. Not sure whether I've got enough, but we are going to find out. One. Two. Turn sideways and stay on camera. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 1 the other way. Put it over there. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 1 the other way. There you go. Just to prove Zaragoza can actually count up to 10. If I want to count more than that, I have to use my fingers and then count up to 1,000. If you're wondering how you can do that on your fingers, the word is binary. Nope, don't twist it, that's it. Yep, hopefully it will, Eddie. Don't forget to make a few spares, by the way, because you will no doubt lose 1 or 2 or break 1 or 2 when you're inserting them, or you know, when you tip them out, one will go on the floor or something like that and you'll lose 1. Now this is the bit that isn't particularly frustrating, because well, it isn't frustrating at all. And this is the bit that requires least patience altogether, because when things are going well, I find you don't need patience for it. Just kind of mention that, as that's one of the it seems to be one of the most asked questions in all the crafts that I do, is you must have a lot of patience to do that. Well, not really. I do have a lot of patience sometimes, but where these yellow rings are concerned, for example, they do sort of, I don't think even patience comes into it. They're a little bit fiddly, and when they start dropping and bouncing off, and you need more than patience. There's just something sometimes that gets you. Anything else with airbrushing or with any of the other crafts that I do, you sometimes need what I would call patience, a little bit of just whatever, just to get through where something isn't quite doing what it's meant to be doing, and then you're okay. But for some reason, doing this, and where you'll be trying to just do something like that, and a ring goes and rolls off, it just winds me up a little bit. So far otherwise, I find doing this sort of stuff to be extremely relaxing normally. I don't think that ring just closed properly, unless I just caught a glimpse of reflection. There we do. A little bit of a perfectionist. I like those to disappear completely. Thought when I tried this a minute ago, I might just have had a slightly easier technique, but don't think that's turned out to be the case. Okay, maybe worth trying again just to make sure. Now I'll go with one of these reversed rings to go through there, through the two yellow rings. Oh, come on. Okay, yeah, that reversed twist certainly helps getting it through there. And that's another block done. And as they say, rinse and repeat. I'm a great believer in Murphy 84 guy or Sod, whichever one, and that is if you transport it to your location with all the sticks in, something will fall on top of the board and break all the sticks. So it won't be a case of them tipping out. And so I wouldn't transport it stood up with them in for that reason. Of course, if you take them out or you don't have them in and you transport it, you can transport it on end. You could probably balance it on a point and it'll never fall over, nothing will ever fall on it until you go, wouldn't it be a good idea if I did all this at home? And then Murphy walks in. Murphy. Murphy gets you every time. When is it you're going to be using this, Eddie? Because I'm going to make a note to ask you the day after whether any got broken in transport. Okay, half of the next one done. I'm going to have another go at doing this with the yellows outside of the loop, and then I'm going to decide whether it's easier to put them, and I nearly made a mistake there of closing that, decide whether it's easier to put them on the outside or try and put them on the inside as I do it. Either way it's fiddly, but if it was too easy I probably wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be as much fun. Certainly interesting experimenting with all of these. So that falls down, that goes like that, and then this sort of should go through there and should go through there. Go on. Go on, ring. You know you want to. mainly because I want you to. So you're going to go through there whether you like it or not. Oh, yeah. I had myself worried then. I thought I'd done something wrong, and it was just missing this this ring on this side. Whichever way you try and get hold of these things, these rings, you always find that it's always the wrong way. There we go. Close that one, and we've got another section done. Saturday. Okay, I shall remember to ask you next weekend. There we go. That's another section, and it's stretchy. Just how we'll get away without using a clasp on this. So let's open some more rings. One. Two. Three. Four. 5, 6. I think I'm going to end up using all of these. And I highly suspect I don't have enough, but I don't, then I'll just have to get some more. Think I can afford it. Since it's just the start of the month-ish. So 8. wonder how long that is. Where's my ruler? Hmm, 2.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I'm not going to have enough rings. Never mind. We'll see how far we get, and then that's as far as we're going to go. If you get these rings joined up perfectly, closed perfectly, you get to the point where you can't actually see where the join is. I know a couple of times I wanted to open a ring and I've spun it round and round and round looking for the join, and not being able to feel it and not being able to see it, and basically spent about 10 minutes looking for the join on the thing. Right. I'm starting to calm down a little bit more now from doing this. Actually, I'm going to open the window. I was about to say I'm feeling a lot more calm, but I'm actually feeling a bit more warm as well. So, as it's quite breezy here in the I'm going to say the UK, but in Yorkshire, I'm just going to open the window and let a bit of breeze through. It's a bit of an overcast day today, and I suspect we're probably going to get some rain a little bit later on, and so the humidity seems to be going up a little bit. It's not particularly hot here in the studio, it's only 23 degrees. Right. Let's just see how frustrated I get trying to put the yellow rings on this ring first before I put its sibling. as I want that to go. Can I do that? Can I cheat and put that on that one side there? Yes, I can. Okay, that makes that easier. Not much, but easier. I managed to pull that through without, as I closed that ring up when I actually thought I was just making a temporary job. So through that one, come on, through there, through the two yellow rings, go on through, thank you, and then through the blue one. I know I just got through saying that having this blue ring open the other way made things easier. I might just be changing my mind about that. Why is it some things can seem so easy and they are so easy and all of a sudden they stop becoming so? Because that is what's happened with that ring. So I am just going to sit back a little bit and go boom 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 before I try again. Which for some reason I don't quite know, brought the thought to me that the Great Yorkshire Show, talking about me being in Yorkshire, and the fact that I thought it might rain a little bit later on, brings to mind the Great Yorkshire Show is on this week in Yorkshire. Starts on Tuesday, I believe. I wondered if anybody was going to be going to the Great Yorkshire Show this year. I might actually go, I don't know yet. I do go from time to time. My wife likes looking at the animals, I like looking at the crafts. Quite like looking at the tractors as well. Since they generally have quite a few of them. On show. And last time I was there they also had some blokes using chainsaws to carve tree trunks, actually create sculptures, which was quite fascinating to watch. And no, I'm not about to buy a chainsaw, not even yet. And you do have some trees to cut down, so that would be a source of material. But the nearest I might get is getting somebody else to chop them down with a chainsaw, and then I might use an arboreal cutter, which is a bit like an angle iron, an angle grinder, but with a blade on it, which you can then use to sculpt heavy bits of wood. I'm not sure it's something I actually want to do. It's just rather large sculptures like that, or rather large carvings like that. Should in theory large power tools like that go fairly quickly, but I was about to say it's very quick to make mistakes as well when you're using large power tools, but also very quick to finish off a piece if you can use them properly. And that's the trick with any tool, I guess. Being able to use it properly makes a big difference. Right, let's have another go at putting the yellow rings on in sequence. So, blue, yellow, yellow, and this blue one over here. Okay, have another go at doing that. I think I might go back to trying the cocktail stick way of doing this. And that ring has moved. What you get with metal is they have a memory effect. When it's like that, where it's bent, it tends to remember where it was and wants to go back into that position. And so when you close a ring, it sometimes wants to open again, or twist back towards its open position. And that's one of the things you do when you close a ring, is you bend it back past where you bend it past where you want it to go to, and then you bend it backwards and forwards a little bit a few times. And what that does is two things. One is it work hardens the bend bit where you bend it a little bit, so that it when work hardening effectively makes it go a bit stiff at that one particular position. But the other thing it does is it effectively removes that memory, or resets the memory to be where you've currently just closed it to be. Then they don't sort of open themselves in the middle of the piece when you look back and go, why on earth is that ring not quite? You did close it at the time, it's just that it's the memory effect opened it back to where it was slightly. Took me quite a while to realise that. If you're hearing the click, which is happening from time to time when I'm doing this, what the click is just the two edges of the ring snapping past each other, so they just catch each other slightly, and what that it's actually, well, providing it's not they don't pass each other too deeply, shall we say, that slight click is a good thing. It means that you've got them well, you've got the two faces of the cut actually flat against each other, and that actually also means that it becomes virtually impossible to see the seam when you've done that. So the click, generally speaking, is good. Doesn't mean that they have to click, it's just that if they do, it's okay. If I can do it that easy every time, then that's the easiest way of doing it with the cocktail stick. See, when you're quite calm, doing things like that, which was a little bit frustrating earlier, works perfectly well. There we go. That looks quite nice. How long is that? So that's 4¼ inch, which is not long enough. Let's see if I have enough rings to do another section. 2, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I did drop one earlier. Let me just see if I can find the one I dropped, because if I did, that gives me the one I need to just finish an extra section. There it is. 10. So there we go. So I can do another 2 blocks of the design. 2. Tell you what, before I forget, let me open 2 the other way. And I can just open these without having to. I don't want to lose you. Come back. Thank you. I ought to do something like put a towel on my knee, maybe. In fact, that's such a good idea. I'm going to do it. Because the towel will tend to catch the rings that fall. At least they don't disappear down between my legs and onto the floor. Oh dear. The towel works except when you basically throw the ring sideways. Luckily I found it. That would have been frustrating to have 9 rings. Get rid of the pussycat hairs. So anybody that's watching, this is making jewellery with this Aragon art. These things called jump rings. Quite why they're called jump rings I'm not sure, other than they maybe jump the gap from one place to another place. I'm not quite sure in jewellery terms why they're called jump rings. But what I'm doing is obviously joining them together. Quite often it's known as chainmail. I tend not to refer to it as chainmail, just because when I've done that with people at work and around here, everybody thinks of making armour. Now, what I'm doing here doesn't tend to look like armour. You know, that a knight would wear, I'm not sure, a knight would wear bright yellow rings, for example, but yeah, maybe there'll be some. So I tend not to describe it as chainmail very often, even though technically I suppose that's what it is, but a lot of people can't get past the armoury bit when you say it. So what I'm doing here is making a byzantine bracelet. So byzantine refers to the way in which the rings sort of fold around to create this sort of structure, and I'm doing it with yellow flexible rings in between these blue ones. Plenty of other ways of putting rings together as well, not just byzantine. Does seem to be a favourite of people, though, does byzantine for some reason. I don't know if it's the intricate design or, well, or the regular pattern of it. I'm not sure, because there are some other ways of putting rings together that also have very intricate designs, but don't look as regular. And it does seem to be a favourite, does this? Now these rings are made out of aluminium, and then in the process of making them they then get galvanised and dyed to produce the colours. There's 17 or 18 different colours I would say available. I'm sure you can get lots of colours if you really want it to, but generally speaking, most places where you can buy rings, there's about 17 or 18 colours that range from almost a white or a grey, silver, all the way through to black. In fact, if I can remember them, I'll tell you what they are, but I've just forgotten I wanted to put 2 yellow rings on there. So before I try and remember the colours, I'll try and remember to put these 2 yellow rings on. There we go. So we've got silver, white, seafoam, yellow, sky blue, pink, gold, champagne, lavender, orange, purple, blue, royal blue, green, red, bronze, black ice and black. So quite a selection really. And they also come in various sizes and diameters, which is important not only for jewellery making, but the fact that some patterns can only be made with certain rings. The way in which the rings go together require either a certain diameter of ring or a certain thickness of the ring wire, and if you don't have the right combination, then the pattern itself doesn't look well. It doesn't hold more than anything. It just the weave, which is the way in which rings go together, the weave just collapses and doesn't look like what it's meant to look like. I think I can probably show an example of that in a minute. I think I've got one on my desk here. If not, I've got one that I did slightly earlier today. Okay, yellow ring, you're going to go through there, and your friend is also going to go through there. That's it. Then we put that through there and we close this up. Then I show all these nice people an example of a weave that collapses. So, another section done. So have I got a weave that collapses in front of me? Yeah, I do. So this is an example of Turkish round, a bit like byzantine, but it's three-sided. Oh, yeah, six-sided. I struggle to say whether it's three or six-sided, just because of the way it works. You know, a square is four-sided, but I'd probably, in ring terms, you tend to describe it as two-sided. But if I let go of that, it sort of just mushes up. Actually, that one's not the worst. I've got another one around here. That's even worse than that. I think that's it there. Nope. That turned out to be something it wasn't supposed to be. Looks like I didn't keep it. It was that bad. I've probably made another test up with it, but this one only just works. It just sort of collapses. It sort of holds its shape, but it's not great. You know, you can get to the point where you can't really see what it's meant to be until you stretch it out. No, I obviously used it for something else. Theme Hospital, hi, good evening. Welcome to the studio this afternoon. Limited quantities dark rose. That sounds like a light red or a dark pink. I think I heard you mention that the other day, Eddie, Fall Guy. Might have to get some of that and try. If only because I've got a spare section in my box. Got 18 spaces and 17 rings. ICQTB, welcome to the studio this afternoon. Thank you very much. It's an interesting one. There again, probably I suspect you may find all the hobbies that I do to be somewhat unusual. I do some punchcraft, which is a bit like miniature rug making. I do some relief carving. I do some scraper board, which is what I'll be doing on the stream later on another stream later today. I do this. and I do something else which has escaped me. Punchcraft, jewellery, scraper board, carving. What's the fifth one? I do 5. 5. Punchcraft, scraper board, jewellery, carving. I'm looking at pyrography. Pyrography. Making pictures using heat on wood. Thank you, AD. I didn't look up. I remembered before I looked up, but oh dear, I can't remember what I actually do. So we tend to do them each in turn. I find doing this, generally speaking, really relaxing. So sort of for Saturday or Sunday afternoon, just experimenting with rings, putting, in this case, working towards putting this into making this a bracelet, and I just find working with the rings quite relaxing. So I'm doing this out of sequence, so to speak, but it just something to sort of chill out with. Yeah, that ring quite a bit. So I'm experimenting on this particular one with not with the weave itself, because byzantine is one that I can now do quite easily, but with inserting these yellow rings, which are actually they're flexible. They're made out of a neoprene like material, which will mean that they're less prone to deterioration and cracking like rubber would be, and they're then stretchy, so it means that this will not need a clasp when it's closed, because you'll just be able to stretch it out over your wrist. Which has some advantages and some disadvantages. One of the advantages is that it's very easy to fasten and it won't accidentally come undone. The disadvantage is, of course, it's stretchy, and you have to then therefore stretch it over your hand to put it on. And it's a little bit more it's a little bit more complex to weave, just because the yellow rings can't be opened. They're a closed ring, of course, and so they have to be woven in at just the right point, and you've got to do it in such a way that they will sit in the right position for where they want to be after they're woven, which takes a little bit of getting your mind around and finding the best ways of doing that, because these, for example, don't actually want to be there. They want to be on literally on the other side of this ring and come up through between these two. So what I've got to do now is persuade them to do just that. Now that's where I suppose there is the advantage of the fact that they are flexible, It does make doing this a little bit easier, even if it is a little bit fiddly. Sometimes it's gone a bit easier than others. Cocktail stickers come in really useful for doing that. So that ring is now in its proper position. So you come around there, and if I persuade that ring to go into the right position, ow, as well, I can just get under there and pull that ring through. So they're now in the correct position between these two rings. And then I get hold of this final one and I feed. Normally you'd have put these two blue rings on together, and then if they were metal, the yellow ones, I'd have put them on after I've done this, not before. But as I say, because they can't be opened and closed, then they have to go on first. Oh, right, okay, I'll have a look at that. So ICQB, I apologise, thank you very much for following. I don't know if the graphic did show on screen, I hope it did, but the sound obviously didn't. So I want to say thank you very much for following me. I do appreciate everybody that follows me. I really don't want to miss you guys when you do. Thank you for letting me know, Adi. And the great McBaden, thank you also very much for following. As I say, I do appreciate it. I didn't really want to miss you guys when you followed, so thank you very much for doing so. Okay, so there's I've run out of this blue ring now, so I'm going to have to order some more to be able to finish this particular bracelet. But let's just, for the fun of it, let's just see how long it's been. Well, it's gone. How far I've got, I'm not quite sure what I'm trying to say. I just want to know how long it is. So 5 1/4 inches, and it wants to go to at least 7 1/2. I suppose one of the nice things about these being stretchy a little bit is they can also be worn tight, so they can be stretched slightly, which is something you can't do with if the rings were solid. It's not comfortable to wear a bracelet that's too tight if it's solid, but with this being stretchy a little bit, if you're about an 1/8 of an inch out or 1/4 of an inch out, it will stretch a little bit and it just sits snugly. But there we go. So I have about what did I say, 5 1/4, about another 2 1/4 inches to do, which would be what? So a section's just over 1/2 an inch. So easiest way to go. I wanted this to be 7 1/2, so we would need to add in. So that's to there. So I want it to go all the way to there. So we do 1, 2, 3, another 4 sections, another 40 rings, and that would be long enough to go all around and to have the two ends joined together to form a bracelet. It's a tiny one at the moment. Might fit a young baby perhaps, but it's not the sort of thing you'd want to give to a young baby. Add another 40 rings and it would be long enough to form a bracelet for an adult. Oh, the graphic showed, just the sound didn't play. Oh, I know why the sound didn't play. It will now. I had the master volume muted because I was watching some videos really early this morning of some chip carving, and my wife was asleep, so I didn't actually want to wake her up, and the chip carving was just music alongside it, so I just muted the master volume, and I completely forgot. So thank you very much, Eddie, and again thank you to you two guys that followed. That's fantastic. And Theme Hospital is busy doing some ETS 2. At the moment I don't have a desire to do any ETS 2. It is one of the games that I do play, but I tend to go through phases. I've played that one quite a bit. What are we now? April, May, June, July. 4 months ago was the last time I played ETS 2. I know that because the steering wheel, which I've got, G27, sits exactly here where I am now, where the camera's pointing at. So I had to take that down to be able to do crafts and art on stream. So I know exactly when it was I last played, which means that's also the last time I played Farm Simulator as well, which is another one that I play with the wheel. So I've never actually tried the Scandinavian download, the DLC, yet, which I must get around to trying at some point. But I'm enjoying myself streaming and doing all this art stuff. Too much at the moment to be even bothered to play games. Right, well, I've run out of these royal blue rings, and I don't really want to start anything else just at the moment. It's almost my time for tea. So what I'm going to do, guys, is say I have the room, I just don't have the room to play for it. The Rust map, is that third party thing, Theme Hospital? Yeah, I was saying. Yes, I was saying I've got the room for the G27, just not the room to put it out to play whilst I'm streaming. It's unless I stream playing the game, I guess, is the other way of doing it, which might be the only way I'll get round to playing it again. Problem with the G27 is there's so many wires and it needs clamping down. I mentioned I hope to get a new studio later this year, and I think when I do that I'm going to perhaps put the G20, well, I suppose I could put the G27 on a different desk, but I was thinking of putting it on like a little stand in front of the desk so that I can just move the stand to one side, because then I don't have to mess about with monitors and things like that. And that seems like a good idea, but just not yet. Anyway, third party map that has Russia. Okay. The one I would quite like to play is, and Pro Mods does that as well. It has it, and that's Greece and the islands. But I kind of am a bit reluctant to play a map, because if you take the map out, in some circumstances it can mess with the save games. So when you do an update or an upgrade, you can mess up the save a little bit, and I'm not fantastically in favour of that happening, shall we say. Which is certainly, if you've driven a few tens of thousands of miles and got quite a few points on it, you don't really want your save game to be messed up. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to stop the stream. Say thank you to the guys that have watched this afternoon and have been in chat and said hello and things like that. Those the two of you that's followed, Ice QTB and the great McBaden, thank you very much again for following. If you'd like to catch me again, my normal stream is going to be this evening, which will be in approximately 3 hours, 8 PM in the UK, 1900 hours GMT, where well, I'll be doing, and you, if you join, will be watching me do some scraperboard. I've got a country cottage that I am currently making in scraperboard, or scratching, establishing. Don't quite know what you call it. It's not painting, and it's creating a picture in scraperboard of a country cottage. So that'll be the stream this evening, which is my normal stream. I stream from that time every night, 8 PM in the UK. So I'll hope to see you all again then. Thank you very much for watching this afternoon. Bye bye.